Hi all. Right, next Allied Impulse. Um, you're having a little bit of a think about what to do. Obviously, I drew two nice cards the last time. We're waiting for the 7 core arriving so that we can do something up at Liège and possibly around here as well. And the 21st Army Group card, of course, probably the best card in the deck. So, I did wonder, I'm looking at units that might be stacked with other units, so you're getting the benefit, because it does activate all allied units. Activate any one core and stacked units with bonus, and they all get combat support. So, I was thinking about that, but then I glanced across at the reserves and thought, well, look at all that. And this card deploys all allied reserves. And then we've got a single unit from 12. Oops. A single unit from 12 core, single unit from 5th core. That's dated the 22nd, so admittedly we would get that free, but not until tomorrow, not until the 24th, and we're not that far into the 23rd. Germans are not quite through half their deck yet. And then a full stack of, admittedly, green infantry, and then elite armour from the 7 core. And we'd get to deploy all of them with that one card. They would then have the 7 core card in our hand. Once these are on the table, we can do something with them. And I think just the fact we've got so many units there that it's seriously worth considering. I don't know if some of you might think that's not the right thing to do with this card, but I mean, other options, what to activate. The 12 core again, we don't have another card for them to have a go to this guy again, who unfortunately just repaired a step, but don't feel like that's awfully important. We'd probably want it for the British core again, maybe to have another go at that guy, but because they activated the last impulse, we wouldn't be able to do that this impulse with them, but it would activate the whole core. We could move some of the other units into get them better placed and whatever. So I mean, we've got a card for the 7 core, so there's no point using it to activate the 7 core. So I think that's the only sort of things that I would do, activations that I would do. I've got an 18 core card, an 8 core card, and a 5 core card, 7 core card, and a 3 core card in my hand. So it feels like, yeah. You know what? I think it's a no-brainer myself. I don't know. I think using it to deploy all the allied reserves. I know it's a really strong card, and we're not going to see it tomorrow again. It's going to disappear for a day at least. Right. Just let me ponder a little and make sure I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm going to go for the deploy reserves, I think. I think the fact we're getting 8 units out of it, and they're going to spread quite a bit throughout the map, so I think that's the best use. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, so that's what we're going to get to deploy. Just how to do it. Well, most of them are going to be in different positions. This could be quite, they could be quite similar positioned, deployed up there. These guys are likely to be around the middle here somewhere. I don't know, maybe I should zoom out and show you I was thinking maybe the 9th Infantry unit's the only unit that can be deployed strategically, because he's got a printed date of 1 day earlier, and none of them have got the VS, so they're all going to have to be standard deployed apart from him. I don't think that's going to had a little bit of look. I don't think it's going to be too major an issue because I probably want to have them closer. So yeah, thinking maybe him, to be honest, maybe a way up here because, well, he's got to be within 3 of this. He's got a 9th infantry unit on the table, so possibly in here, and maybe even the fact I've got the 5th Corps, I could activate the 5th Corps and move into maybe a Liege rather than the 7th Corps, and maybe use them because they're a bigger, stronger force. Maybe use the 5th Corps units to defend, and then try and do something more aggressive with the 7th Corps because we've got some of them down here as well. Just looking at them, they could do with getting repaired as well. There's 3 units that I can see that are damaged just from looking at a glance. Okay, and then of course this is the big one here. So my guess is they're probably going to come in this sort of area, and I'm not sure exactly. I'd like to maybe have a go at this. This looks a little bit too much to like be having a go at, but I'm certainly maybe coming down and just shutting some of this 47th and the 58 Corps off. Like I say, the 18 Corps, they're green units. Again, they could come in here somewhere. Well, they've got to be 3 away from that. I had a look though, and there was a chance of maybe coming in and having a go at this guy maybe, if I deploy them, just round about where the car does actually, and then I think I would have movement to get them into there. And remember, I've got cards to activate every one of the corps apart from the 12 Corps in my hands, so that's the other plus to using this to deploy them all. And the 12 Corps unit itself, he's the first of his division coming on board, so but I'm sure we could have him down and around here somewhere. Well, it's got to try and be within 3 of his corps, so hopefully in a position where I can move him into place to maybe help with this attack, or keep him with them anyway, something like that anyway. So yeah, okay, let me go and have a look and see exactly where I'm going to put them. Yeah, I think the perfect spot for the 9th Division unit is possibly here. He's on a road hex with trade supply. Let me see again. He's within the core area. At least 3 hexes away from German unit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So he is. Or remember, I can put him 2 hexes away by putting him in a. Oh, in actual fact, I could put him there then, couldn't I? Does that matter? Yeah, because he's 2 away, but he's on a map edge. Well, it probably doesn't make any odds, to be honest. Yeah, and he's within 3 of a unit in the same division as well. So yeah, I think I will put him there. Like I say, it doesn't make too much odds, but that's fine. So I suppose while we're up here, what are we going to do with these big elite armoured units then? This is probably the most important ones to get right, I think. Okay, been having a little bit, I think, and thinking maybe here. Let's move the card out of the way a little bit. I did think here initially, but again, they've not got their division. They're just coming on the board, their divisions. So, but they are within 3 of a corps. They're on a supply road, obviously, and that would make them 1, 2, 3 away from that unit. 1, 2, 3. So they're 3 away from a German unit. Yeah, I was just having a look at what I was thinking about doing with them, and thought possibly about this guy, but coming down, having a go at this guy. Maybe I'm going to have to be coming across the river, but this guy's already across the river, and I could also bring that infantry around, maybe. And I realise that I can't bash on through here because of this detachment, but thinking if I activate 18 core first, that'll remove that detachment, and then I'll be able to come down this road into this hex and have an attack. I'd love to have gone into this hex to surround it, but I can't see that happening. Yeah, I think I'll go for that. I mean, they obviously they can go up north as well. So a little bit, you know, from there they can come up here as well. But I think I just want to make sure I've got that defended. I don't want to there's quite a force there, but I suppose I do need to watch as well. I think my thinking, activate the 5th core, maybe move this unit across the river, move that unit into Liège, and then if I activate them again, I've got that other unit to bring around into Liège as well. But possibly just move this infantry unit away and bring it down. And maybe even, it's a bracketed one that's in there though. Oops. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. So let's see what the 18 core units and the 12 core units going to be deployed. I had to stop my thoughts there because their deployment core boundary is north of this line. That's annoying because I thought about possibly deploying them down here, but I can't do that. So yeah, back to the drawing board. Hang on. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. However, that's the rules. So I'm thinking maybe there, side Rochfort. It's 3 away from. Well, actually, I don't know if disperse unit matters, but anyway, it's 3 away from that. It's on a supply road. It's just within its core boundary, and it's within 3 of a unit of the same core. Obviously, that's the first arrival of that division as well. Yeah, with thoughts, I suppose they could come up here towards this area. I was thinking more about maybe having the 18 core, having a go at these 58 core units. So it wouldn't let me, there's a 2 strength unit in the bottom there that's green, so I could put him into Rochfort and get the use of these elite units, bring them out and along. You know, maybe have a go at this 1 strength unit first. It would have been nice if we could have got round the back of that, but again, because of that infantry there. So, okay, let's go for that. I think that's legit. So, right, just this 5th division. Again, there's none of his division on the board yet. The next 2 of them come in tomorrow on the 24th. So, let me see where I'm going to be able to put. Of course, yeah. It was me wanting. Again, I'm forgetting about deployment boundaries. Fortunately, forgetting about it before, and then remembering once I'm about to do it. Right, their boundary is south of this line, so I'm not going to get them in this area. However, maybe the likes of here would do. Let me have a wee look. Yeah, I think that's a perfect spot actually. In that town. It's on a supply road. It's at least 3 away from a German unit, and it's within 3 of a unit in the same core. And it couldn't be placed adjacent to a detachment, not in or adjacent to a hex occupied by a German detachment. Well, not I could go there anyway, but I think my initial thoughts was like, could I deploy it here? And obviously you can't. Well, that wouldn't have been legal either. Right, anyway, that's there, that's fair enough, because he can actually go 1, 2, 3 into here. So if we do get an activation at 12 core again, he can come on and join this combat. So that's basically what I wanted. That's all about me having the supplemental card for the 12 core, and I've got my doubts now. We've got 3 cards left in the draw pile. one of which is the Corps Artillery. We're going to be drawing 2 of the cards, which is quite good, because if we draw 2 and we play the Corps Artillery again, it's still going to have 1 card to shuffle into. So, okay. But it would be quite nice to see that 12 core supplemental card. So, okay. Well, that's it. Activation over. I can take this cube off, so we could activate them again. Unfortunately, I suppose that was probably the best use of that card. The best core to activate would have been the British, I think, but that's what it is. Right, so that's that. It's all our reserves out. I think that was still the best use. Okay, so I'll draw up to my 7. So I've got 2 more cards. Oh, that 7 core division card. Oh no, it was 12 core I'm looking for, isn't it? Oh, there's a Corps Artillery. Well, that's good because if we have a combat in the next impulse, there's still 1 card in the draw pile. So as long as I don't end up drawing that, I can shuffle that Corps Artillery in. So division for the 84th Infantry and the 3rd Armour. Oh, that's assault coordination. I think that's what we're looking at here. Yeah, because we've got the core, we can activate them. Can we benefit from assault coordination somehow? You know what? Maybe not really that I'm looking. Anyway, okay. So that's my hand back up to 7. So 17 minutes gone. Right, yeah, I think I can bash on and let's get German impulse. And I was having John Brown commented that he think I'd done the best I could with that last impulse. It was fixing it just after activating that impulse. If I had moved on and taken another impulse or whatever, then yeah, some of these things you just can't rewind and you've got to just accept. I think I just replied to him saying that I think one of my major down feelings about it all is that if I hadn't noticed it, or if I had moved on, just not noticed it, the Germans would have been drawing the 5th Panzer Army card now for their activation for the next impulse. So kind of makes me feel a little bit bad with that, but they shouldn't really have been drawing that card. They shouldn't have been. It should have been used, maybe not in the combat it was used, but the other combat. That's what should have happened. Anyway, it's gone now. We'll just need to get on that. Right, German impulse. Oh, it's a lot of rubbish again. Well, they're going to come at some point. Well, unless I keep drawing them for random combat tactics, I suppose. Right, this is a primary card, so it's going to be the command card. This is the support card. Right, does have event, does have bridge engineers. Well, no bridges left to repair. However, they do have units struggling to trace supply, but I don't think. I get the feeling that we're not going to be able to help with building a new bridge, but I'll have a look. No, just looking there. There's not. I mean, the only units that can't trace supply are the ones that are marked in low supply. The 47th units that are furthest west. And building a new bridge, there's no rivers along that way that they could benefit from a bridge getting them back in supply, shall we say. So I can't see that being an applicable event. It's for a situation, hang on, maybe these guys up here, the fact they're across this river now, but they can both trace supply from where they are, but I suppose if there was something stopping that, where they could build a bridge. The thing is, the bridge, it doesn't connect the road, does it? I mean, that's a road and that's a road, but or does it? I don't think I've ever done this before. Yeah, I'm not really looking at it the right way, am I? It doesn't connect the road, so if you were to build a bridge here, it wouldn't have a road joining between here and there. But I could still, at the moment, I can only trace supply with that unit by tracing one into there. Whereas if I've got a bridge into there, I can then trace supply by going 1, 2, 3, 4, if you know what I mean. So that's the benefit. Because you're not crossing an unbridged river, then you're crossing an actual bridge. However, I don't think there's anything that can help them out there. So that event's going to just stay. The support car's just going to stay there. So on to the command card. We're going to activate the 85th Corps. So they're probably going to have another bash at some of these out of supply units down near Ettlebrook. Maybe, well, we've still got Ettlebrook actually. So, and just to point out, that's going to be an air power combat tactic. It's quite nasty. So, right, we're going to activate these guys. There's no units in the reserves for them. So let's see what's what. Okay, so most of them are around here, and we've got this infantry up beside Baston. It's got these big stack of 3rd Corps units in the way. So there's no roadblocks adjacent. Their army objective markers are way to the west in its last position, so they need to reach that for it to move. So let's see what, if any, movement there is going to be. Okay, we've been in this situation before, I think. It looks like this unit could move out and in adjacent to Ettlebrook. But it means he's going to break surround on this guy, and I think we've had this before. When the guy technically wouldn't be surrounded if he was to move into here, so might be going out and in, but so I don't think that's going to. I think the other thing is these other 3 infantry units that are around Ettlebrook are restricted to moving away. You know, again, it's the same thing, unless they could reach a hex. It was, what was it? Who could tactically adjust. But they're all in, well, mind you, these guys could do with getting over the river, couldn't they? But I don't think they can. No, he can't go from there to there. He's actually surrounded. So I don't think any of them are going to move, and I don't think he's going to move because he'll be breaking surround on this. And this one down here, now does that hold that hex? 2608. It does actually. Once we've took Mersh, this hex, this hex, which is west of Mersh, you'd think that maybe it's not one of the hexes that are going to be block supply, but it does mention this hex as being not an option for allied supply. So that probably does mean that this unit can freely move away. Because allies couldn't then trace supply into Mersh without going up and, well, they can't go over this bridge. So that actually does free that guy, but he can get adjacent to Ettlebrook because this is still zone of control here. So one, but he may well make a move at least. Right, I'll go and look at the other movement methods. Okay, movement method 7. We'll see if we get something with that. These are infantry moves. It seems a bit of a kind of daftish one, this, but it is what it is. I think some of the impressions I was getting from reading about some of the Kharkov rules, the Russians start falling back, whereas this is probably a bit within the game where the Germans maybe want to consider you know, maybe falling back into a better position, or I think there's some rules that take that into consideration in Kharkov, which is quite nice. Because this unit here, he's the only infantry unit adjacent to these allied units, so oops, daisies. So his movement is going to be considered complete. He's just going to stay where he is. And that's right, isn't it? If the unit is already only non-bracketed, does not move and its movement is considered complete. So, right, on to methods 10 and 13 then. So we did say we thought this unit could move away. He doesn't have any arrows, just arrows into his hex. Nothing coming out of the hex, so yeah, we're thinking he's just going to cross the river, I think. So we can't move arrows. So closer to army objective. He wants to get adjacent to an allied unit, but this is not closer to his army objective. It's going to be the same distance. This hex would be closer, but I can't reach it. Yeah. That's a bit of a pity, really. Okay, so I think he's either just going to cross into this hex or this hex. They're both going to be as close. This one's going to be... Nah, it's alright. Far down there, aren't I? So yeah, so I think he's going to... Both these hexes are going to be one hex closer to his army objective. They're both the same though, and this one's going to be western. So... my thinking is he's going to just cross into there. And... yeah, it's not the best. He can't get closer and get adjacent to an allied unit, so... yeah, I think that's the best he's going to be able to do. So, and then, moving on to the other units. Well, this is Unit 4. He can't move away from this. So the only thing he would want to do is tactically adjust. Well, in fact, he's surrounded, so he's staying where he is. This guy can't move away as well, because of the restriction. And again, he can't tactically adjust. This guy would want to get across the river if he could, but he also prefers an empty hex, so... and he can't move, you know, this is only hex he could get to, and none of these units can get to that. So forget about him as well. And then unit selector number 8, well, if he moves, like I say, he's going to break that surround on that unit. So yeah, so he can't move either. Okay, right, I think that's all the movement. So let's look at if there's going to be any attacks. Okay, so first unit it considers unit selector number 4. Well, this is selector number 1, but he's not adjacent to anything. So he's got a potential attack here, here, or here. I think we've been here before, haven't we? Now, the combat tactic in the support card is air power, so it's not assault coordination, so I'm going to consider that. Let's see, what we got here. So this guy's a 4, but reduced to a 3, because without a supply. We would have 4, 3, 7 coming across the water, is 3, 6. So that 6 to 3, that's 2 to 1 odds on that one. There's no point checking that one, because that's 2 units and across the water. This one would be 6. Oh, well, hang on. He's in a forest, isn't he? So it's 3 against 2, and the forest gives him a +1. But he gets a -1 for the out of supply. That's 3 against 2, isn't it? Yeah. So the best option is here. And they're getting 2-1 odds there. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, so we're going to do a check here. 2-1 odds. I don't think there's any modifiers. Well, actually, the combat tactic is applicable. Air power is applicable. So there's a -1 to that. So 2-1 odds with a -1. You might not see it as a 5. Oh, right. Angle that as well. Well, it is a 5. There we go. So that's a 4. That becomes a 4. Cancel of less than 2-1 or only defender armor. I think he's armor. He's armor. And we're not. That's a pity. Yeah, I think we've had this before with this guy as well, haven't we? And the thing is, this armor unit just can't get in to get involved because he's surrounding this. So it's a bit of a kind of stalemate for them, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so no combat there. So that's unit selector number 4 checked. Number 5 is up here. We're not even going to bother with that. He's not going to check. He's not going to have a chance against them. So then 6, well, he would have to check here. This has already been checked. 7 is the same. 8, however, can make a check against this. So what did we say? It was going to be 3 strength. 6 halved across the river is 3 against a +1 or -1, isn't it? +1 for force, -1 for the out supply. So it's 3 against 2, isn't it? Which I think is only 1-1, isn't it? He is only infantry this time, isn't it? And we've actually got armour, so there's a chance. It needs to be a low roll, but well, again, we've got a -1 as well, modifier for the combat tactic. No elites. So okay, 1-1 with a -1. 6. Oh, it was almost a 4 and it just jumped there. So 6 knocks it to a 5. Cancel of less than 2-1 or only defender elite. Yeah. If it had been that 4 knocked down to a 3. Cancel of less than 1.5 to 1. Which I think it is less than 1.5 to 1, isn't it? Right, okay. Oh, that's going to be that, I think. Oh well. Yeah, they're still not getting any sort of result there. It's kind of, well, I suppose next turn these units are going to move to isolated, so that might be when it's a different story. But I suppose if they can keep hanging on there, already mentioned, once they do break away, we're going to have to, have a consideration about R1. We get some 12 core units on the 24th tomorrow, so we can possibly deploy them down there and get them along to help out at R1. Anyway. Okay, nothing can bounce back to reserve, nothing's stacked. They're all stacked on their own, aren't they? IP wise, well, they will be able to build an IP, won't they? Yeah, these 2 units will be able to build an IP. And the other one's in a town, the other one's already got one. Another 2 guys have made a move. Yeah, okay. There's no disperse markers. Right, so that's that. But however, it's still got a support card, so it's going to come across. I might just repair though. This is just a supplemental card, so does want to try and repair a point on 80 core. I can see there's one unit here that's that could be repaired. He's maybe the only one. Where is that's the armoured unit that's under there, yeah. So yeah, assign 1 replacement point. However, he might no, I don't think he can trace reserve supply, can he? No, because he can't trace into here. Yeah, he can trace normal supply, but he can't, or, well, can he come across here maybe? No, because he can't, well, hang on. 1, 2, 3, no, I don't think he can. 1, 2, let me just pause. I don't think it's possible though. No, I don't think he can do that. So, let's say he could trace normal supply, but not reserve supply. So, and he's the only damaged unit, so we're going to have to skip by that and activate the units in the core. So, I don't think that's maybe a bad thing for us, because I guess this guy's going to get attacked again. Okay, so we should be able to get through this one a bit quicker this time, sure. That was one of our last impulses, wasn't it? Right, no roadblocks. They're still following the core objective marker. They're all already adjacent to a unit that's within 3 of the core objective marker. These are the only 2 that we'd like to tactically adjust, but they can't get anywhere. Anyway, so my gut feeling there is they're all going to sit there and make an attack on the 2 units in here. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, I think. So, now, well, we're going to determine it, but I'm pretty sure this time it should go ahead. We've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Mind you, there's quite a lot of strength in here, isn't there? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 12. Well, situationally, it's 12 against 5 getting reduced to 4. So 12 against 4. So it is only 3 to 1 odds. Yeah, that's what it was the last time, wasn't it? So 3 to 1. But we do have armour. Yeah, that was a snag from the time before, wasn't it? But we had armour that last time because that armoured unit came across. Now there's no support card now. They don't have any reserves. We're not elites. Yeah, so there's no modifiers. No modifiers. 3 to 1 odds. That's a 3, so there's a good chance of that. Cancel less than 1.5 to 1 or attacking from 1 hex. Yeah, well, that's a funny one, because that one, and yet a dice roll of 1 gives cancel if only defender elite or only defender armour, which that can sometimes be more a one that happens and it's a lower dice roll, but however. Right, so attack is going to happen. These guys are all going in. So 6, 8, 10, 12, like I said. We're going to draw a combat tactic. We get assault coordination again. Okay, so this guy comes in again, so it's exactly the same as that last combat. Although we now know that it should have been a slightly different combat tactic, but we'll not go all into that. So 12, another 2 coming across the river as 14. So yeah, it's exactly the same odds as well, isn't it? 14 to 5. So only 2 to 1 odds. But lots of chip pools, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Sorry, I maybe just pushed things up a bit too far there. Sorry about that. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So 6 chip pools. 2 3-step units. That's another 2. So that's 8 chip pools. And 1 for the assault coronations, 9. And 1 because this unit's out of supply. Yeah, that's what we ended up with the last time. 10 chip pools, 2 to 1 odds, but we survived. So, 2 times on the trot, I don't know. Not sure. Feeling confident this time. Well, we can't play combat tactics, so we're just going to have to let it go and see what happens. Okay, I'll just go and get 10 chits. Wow, another interesting battle. This was the first chit, 2-1, so terrible start, but then we got lots of odds chits after that, and most of them benefited us. I actually thought, look at the last chit I pulled, 7-1, so I thought, right, well, that's not going to apply. It's flank attack on the back, and I think that's quite devastating to get that D1 at the end. Look at this chit though. Remember I spoke before about a Woods chit usually being, well, I didn't think there was any D1s in a Woods chit. I mean, it is an A1 as well, but there you go. There's an A1 and a D1 in the Woods. No artillery, these were all too big. Large attack, but 2 less than 3-1s to give him hits. However, yeah, I think we're in trouble, aren't we? There's 1, 2, 3. We got 1 back there, but then the flank attack at the end. I think if this flank attack at the end hadn't happened, it might have been better, but I think we're in. It's looking grim, I think. Right, I'll work out the numbers. Okay, there's the numbers. Let's say D3. 2, I might have been able to cope with, but I'm not so sure. I've not even looked at things here. They've got 2 hits, however, we've got out of supply, which reduces a hit, and they've also played assault coordination, so they're not going to get hit at all, unfortunately. So D3, we've only got 1 hex that we can move into. And in fact, is it 2? Oh no, we do have 3 steps. However, it's going to be 3 steps, so we can retreat into there. Now here's a question for you. Don't know if this might be out there and about. Not sure. It feels like something that I must have thought about before. Out of supply says if mechanised unit may move only 1 hex. Now, I'm pretty sure I have come across this in the past. Move only 1 hex to me would seem that if it was retreating, it would only be able to move 1 hex. However, what makes me think that might not be the case is that a dispersed unit may not move. It cannot move at all, a dispersed unit, right? But a dispersed unit and any unit stacked with it may retreat only 1 hex if attacked. So that's kind of like, going against that, isn't it? Kind of saying that it may not move, but it can retreat 1 hex. So I'm wondering if out of supply, when it says if mechanised unit may move only 1 hex, it doesn't talk about how it can retreat. To be honest, I think it can only retreat 1 hex anyway. It's only going to be able to go in here because it can't retreat into a west wall, can't retreat in a German town. Yeah, it's in all sorts of trouble, I think. In fact, I think they're going to get wiped out, aren't they? Because his only retreat is into here, and with that retreat, I have to take a step loss. So that's me down to two steps. As far as I'm aware, I can't retreat anywhere else. So I'm down to 2 steps, and I've got 2 hits still to apply. Yeah, if he could retreat again, he's also going to be retreating into a zone of control anyway, which is going to take another step loss. Then I'm going to have to satisfy the last one with step loss. However, I can't retreat into a West Wall hex or a German controlled town. So, but I'm curious to know if any is watching. The fact that, well, mind you, there was only 1 mechanised unit. The other unit was infantry, but when it says mechanised unit can only move 1 hex while it's out of supply, does that also mean it can only retreat 1 hex? I kind of feel like it does, but you know, I think just the wording with dispersed. I mean, I suppose dispersed is a different state, what out of fuel is, but anyway, if any of you want to answer that question, then leave a wee note. Okay, so unfortunately, they're both gone. So 2 more units in the limited units box. Well, that's actually 3 units in the limited units box now. So I'll chuck 2 of them in the cup and give the Germans another victory point, putting them up to 38. No, I don't want that nonsense, but well, yeah. Right, I'll tidy the chits up there and we'll see about if there's going to be any advance after combat. So Unit 2 first. There's no arrows this way, obviously. So this is another route. It's not going close to his army objective. Selector number 3 is underneath. He's the same. So they're not going to move. Selector number 4, this was brought in with Assault Coordinations, so he doesn't get to advance after combat. Number 5, again, is another route. Number 6, however, is... Well, it's an other... No, well, it's not an arrow, hang on. It's not across the river and close to the army objective, or not any VPX. So, it is closer to his army objective, though. So, he would advance on a 1 to 7. Let's put that there. Might as well show you. There's a wee space there. 7, bang on, right, okay. There might be another roll. Hang on. Okay, so he will advance, or will he? He's going to be breaking the surround on that guy as well, isn't he? And I'm right in saying, yeah, because the restrictions apply to advance after combat as well, don't they? 9.21, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, advancing him into there then means this guy can actually move into this town, in fact, can't he? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so he won't advance. So maybe this guy then. Again, there's no arrows. But yeah, that would be 1 hex closer, so... I'll just take that roll. I should really. Hopefully I don't roll up on a 7. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, I had to re-roll it. I was rolling on that guy, didn't I? Yeah. I had to re-roll it because I wasn't intending it for to be that guy. So okay, so none of them are going to advance. I think it's not that big a deal anyway. Pretty sure that this unit's still here. It's still within 3 of their core. So when they activate again, this guy's going to move in here anyway. Yeah, one of them are going to move into here and try and finish this guy off. So that's only that guy left now. Well, apart from the guy in Ettelbruck, he's still holding on, the 12 core guy. He's pretty strong. But this guy's, I think, in a bit more bother now as well. Well, it's more than likely these are going to be isolated before, because that's a couple of activations of these guys. Right, that's it. Everybody had a activation, so that's that impulse over. So that's us just over halfway through the German deck now. We've still got 7. We've got 7 cards in our hand, 1 card in our draw pile. So we need to be a bit more careful with the cards, I think. It's difficult now because I'm wanting to get aggressive and move, but you've still got the same amount of cards, not an awful lot. However, I suppose the Germans lose the cards to fading initiative as well. But okay, right, I'll maybe cut this now, guys, and I probably could put this together and chuck it up there as well. Okay, I'll be back with an Allied Impulse sometime soon. Okay, cheers.